like to take a few minutes to talk about a very important event that's coming up, and that is the FITN. Remember what that stands for? First in the Nation, not first in the South, first in the nation Democratic presidential primary, and the fact that statewide we have a major Get Out the Vote initiative. So here's kind of the reason why this is a big deal, and this is the slogan the state party and all the county parties and all the associated organizations are going with. For the first time, Black, Southern, and rural voters will have their voices heard first. Normally, who's gone first in the nation? Who knows? Iowa, New Hampshire, right? Very different makeup of people there. Good people, but they don't look like all of America. South Carolina truly represents the diversity of our nation as a whole, from rural to city, from black to white to Hispanic, from rich to poor, all are represented here within the Democratic Party of South Carolina. So we were designated last year by the National Democratic Committee that South Carolina is going to go first. And that was in large part due to a lot of grassroots efforts, but also due to the support of President Joe Biden, who says, you know what, I think this is best for our party if we let South Carolina go first. So we're going to do a little deep dive into that. There is a lot of money that the state party is investing in this primary, and it's interesting. And we want to talk about why we're investing money. But first of all, I want to point out the state party is active. This isn't a party where maybe they show up to events once in a while and speak. No, this is true organization like we haven't seen in years, and I've been part of it, and it's really been nice to see. Why are we doing a big Get Out the Vote effort this month for this primary? Well, one, you want to inspire and motivate the voters. One thing that's a fact, people who vote in a primary are much more likely to vote in the actual election. You get people used to knowing where their polls are, get them used to going out on election day or voting early. People who may not normally be engaged, if they voted in February, 95% chance or higher, they're going to vote in November. So we want to encourage that participation now. We want to increase visibility. People always say, where are the Democrats? Well, aside from the fact that we're all here right now, we need to be out and visible in the community. Get Out the Vote is a great way to do it. In January, not waiting until September or October before the main election. We want to generate media coverage, local press, social media engagements. We want to aggressively coalesce and create coalitions among disparate groups that have a like mind and a common purpose, and amplify voter education. And then finally, help the parties, ourselves, get stronger. If we put in the efforts this month for that primary to get out the vote, that makes us stronger as we do the same in the June primary and then again for the general election. So consider it a dress rehearsal for what we need to be doing. So we get stronger in the process. We do have choice on the ballot. On February 3rd and the 2 weeks prior for early voting, there are 3 names that will appear that we need to choose from. Who will be South Carolina's nomination for president as we go into the national convention? We've got President Joe Biden, Congressman Dean Phillips, and Marianne Williamson. Those are the 3 names. I'll share this interesting trivia question with you, or point with you. 5 people filed to run for Democratic president in South Carolina. These are the 3 that qualified. One guy, I don't know his name, his check bounced. So he didn't qualify. He got the boot. The other one is a media figure, and to be honest with you, I can't pronounce his name. It's a Turkish name, and he has a TV show called The Young Turks. Anybody ever hear of that group? And so he's a popular media figure. He filed. The problem is he was not born in the United States. And constitutionally, that's kind of a requirement. Now, did he forget that part? Did he not know? No, he knew full well. And in fact, he has filed a lawsuit against South Carolina Democratic Party, and he's challenging the interpretation of naturalized citizen or natural-born citizen in the Constitution. It's not going to go anywhere, folks. It's just a waste of legal money. But I put that out there as just an interesting piece of trivia. But these are the three names that did qualify, and their websites are there if you want to learn more. Let's talk about some important dates. Saturday, February 3rd, that's 4 weeks from today. 4 Saturdays from today, the polls will open across the state, 50 polls. The last day for voter registration, well, that already passed. So I'm assuming all you here are registered voters and you're good to participate. You can request an absentee ballot, but you have to do so by January 23rd, and you have to call the elections office to do so. You cannot request an absentee ballot online. You can go in person, or you can give them a phone call, give them a holler and ask for an absentee ballot. But we also have 2 weeks of early voting. So starting on January 22nd, you can show up to a designated early voting location. I know the elections office is one. I haven't seen them announce, and maybe they announced and I just missed it, what the others are. We will promote that, but you can do early voting and get it out of the way from January 22nd to February 2nd. As a reminder, some of that important information and those dates are on the inside of your agenda. So make sure you hold on to that. So let's talk about the organizing. What has the state party done with new chair Crystal Spain? They broke up the state into 6 regions, 6 county and party regional chairs, and there is a regional leader. We are in the upstate in Region 6, and that's the list of counties: Abbeville, Anderson, Lawrence, Newberry, McCormick, and the chair of the Spartanburg Democrats, a wonderful lady named Catherine Harvey, is organizing the rest of the chairs and training us on new tools, talking about what the state party plans are. And by the way, the national party is dumping hundreds of thousands of dollars into South Carolina. This is a big deal. More activity here than we've seen in years. But Catherine Harvey, I think she visited McCormick Democrats. She's had virtual calls and trainings, and so we're organizing upstate. Here's what our goals are. We have, as a region, 20,000 voters to reach. Now, these are 20,000 friendly voters, 20,000 Democrats that we want to have go out and cast their vote in the primary. And other regions have other numbers. We want to have at least 40 phone and text bank parties, if you will, or events available. They're having 6 Get Out the Vote events. They have a traveling van that's going to be going from place to place. Unfortunately, Greenwood is not going to be on the stop list. But still, they're going to hit a lot of these rural counties like McCormick and Anderson to make sure that they're engaged. And then media spots, advertising, and local press hits. There's going to be 3 of those. Specifically, when it comes to how many voters we need to reach, we want to target and hit almost 140,000 voters in total across the state. There's 114 that we actually have good phone numbers for. But in our region, here in the upstate, Greenwood, we have 1,397 voters we need to contact between now and February 3rd. Sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. You know, when you do 20 here, 50 here, 100 here, that adds up quickly. And it's not like we're Greenville, which has nearly 7,000 voters to contact. Greenwood has 1,400. And I'm telling you, we are going to hit those 1,400. Greenwood is going to have a gold star by the end of this month. So how do we get to that gold star? Well, we'll talk about that. We are going to be doing phone banking throughout January. Phone banking, we're going to have some training. Now that we have a headquarters, we invite you to come out and get a little bit of training as to how easy it is to phone bank. Again, we're contacting friendly voters. We're encouraging them to get out and vote in the presidential primary. Tuesday, January 9th, here as well. I'm sorry, the slide is wrong. January 16th is a Tuesday. So it's Tuesday the 9th and Tuesday the 16th. We're going to have training sessions at the headquarters uptown Greenwood. And who knows, maybe President Obama will drop by and phone bank. I see this picture all the time, and I got to imagine, what if I'm just, a casual voter, I'm sitting at home, and President Barack Obama calls me? I don't think I will ever hang up that phone again. I'd be like, Mr. President, I got another 100 questions to ask you. Can you stay on? He probably didn't get very far. But let me tell you some facts about phone banking, some quick facts of interest. Number one, you can make these calls from home. Right? You don't have to just show up and do it at an event. You could do it at the leisure of your own bedroom or home office in your pajamas. You can do it on a computer if you've got a little plug-in headset, or you can do it on your phone as well, a smartphone. Simple scripts are given to you. There's actually a link you click, and up pops the name of the individual, their phone number. You click a button, and it dials them for you. And it gives you a paragraph to read, and you push a button for a response. Another paragraph to read, push a button for a response. You don't have to become friends with the person you're talking to. Just read the script, get the response, and do it in a friendly manner. Very simple. And again, these are friendlies, so you don't have to be nervous that they're going to hate you because you're calling them about the Democratic primary. These are people that are going to be glad to talk to you, and who knows, you may be encouraging them to improve their health and show up at our breakfast meeting. It doesn't require you to use your phone number. That's the biggest concern. Jill says it all the time. I don't want them knowing my phone number, and I don't blame you. Who wants to have your phone number pop up with a bunch of strangers? This system does the dialing for you through a VPN phone banking system. That's not your number. It's all done digitally. All you do is push the number, the system connects you to that phone, and then you engage. So I think that's great. And another important part, if you engage this month, that gets you the practice when it comes time for phone banking for me and for Dr. Jamil Brooks and other candidates in the general election. You get the rhythm, and you get the practice down, and maybe you can help train others. So it's important we do it now. Now, I want to share this. The last newsletter that went out where we announced this breakfast, we had over 500 people open and read that email. And in that email was a blurb saying, we're looking for volunteers to learn phone banking. Just hit reply to that email if you're interested. You know how many responses I got? Zero responses. So we got to do better. It's great to come out to meetings. It's great to get involved and get informed and to network. But at some point, we have to get in the game and get involved as well. So I encourage you, please get in the game and join us for a phone bank training. Watch for those email lists. Watch for the social media posts and sign up to do this training. It's only going to be 40 minutes, 45 minutes. We'll walk you through it, and then you'll have all the confidence to go and do it on your own. It takes about, the average is around 30 calls an hour. That's the metric. And another fact I learned is that you only connect with about 10% of the numbers you dial. And that's okay. That's normal. And then sometimes these elections are just by margins of numbers anyway, but by leaving voicemails for the other 90 or getting wrong numbers and cleaning up our system so that we're not wasting time again in the future. That's all vital stuff. The messaging, well, let's talk about why this is important. So there's a couple of other things I want to point out. Again, we're giving rural, black, southern voters a chance to be first for the first time. And South Carolina has been a great bellwether in the history of determining who's going to be the president. For example, 2008 picked Barack Obama, 2016, and not just who's president, but who's the nominee for the eventual nominee. Hillary Clinton, who won the nomination, and President Biden, who won the nomination. They all won South Carolina first. So candidates know whoever wins South Carolina tends to win the general nomination. So it's important that we keep that presence in the forefront. And by the way, just about the same story is told for the Republican side, who also goes early in the nomination process. The winner there tends to get the national nomination as well. So that's important. Here are some common questions that I've encountered as chair talking with people about this and why it's important. The number one thing is, look, let's just be real. President Biden, he's going to win anyway, right? So why bother? What's the point? Well, there's a lot of points. The fact that we're first in the nation this time does not guarantee we will be first in the nation next time, 4 years from now. And why is it important to be first in the nation? Because if you have an election like we did in 2020, do you remember how many Democratic nominees there were, or candidates there were in 2020? Who remembers the number? Was it a dozen? Was it 20? It's 22. 22 people signed up to run for president of the United States as the Democratic nominee. I know because I sat through all 22 speeches at the South Carolina convention in 2019. There was a lot of speeches from a lot of people. I mean, there was like a mayor of a small town in Florida who filled out the paperwork and filed to run. But think about it. If we are first in the nation, and we've got 22 candidates looking to make a name for themselves in South Carolina, can you imagine how much that does to our economy? And all the visitation, and all the visibility, and all the voter engagement, they will be swarming across our state. It's good for our economy. It's good for the Democratic Party. It's good for voter engagement. It's good for democracy, for South Carolina to be first. So even though you may not think that this particular election is competitive, we need to make a statement that says, thank you, Democratic National Committee, for having faith in choosing South Carolina to go first. And we rose to that occasion and showed that we are the state to be first in 2028. So our place in line is not given. Another practical matter is, this is one of the states in the nation that we do not register by party. There is no card or record that says you are a Democrat or you are a Republican. It doesn't exist. So the best way we have of determining who the friendlies might be are those who participate in the Democratic presidential elections or Democratic primaries in the summer and have a pattern of it. So it's important for us to know who they are and get that history. We need people to turn out and cast their vote. And then finally, is there anybody here who has dreams of being a delegate from South Carolina to go to the national convention and be part of that big brouhaha that is the presidential convention? Anybody here want to be a delegate? We got one. We got two. It's from what I hear, it's fun. Me, I'm not a fan of big crowds. I'm okay not being part of that. I'll go if I'm drafted, but I ain't signing up for it voluntarily. All them people, that gets me nervous. But still, biggest gathering of Democrats in the world. If you want to be a delegate, there are two requirements. One, you have to vote in the presidential primary. And then two, you have to be at our county party convention, which is the first Saturday of March. Those are the two requirements. And we'll send more info about that. Next question. Will South Carolina be first from now on? No, not necessarily. It can be reset after every election, after every presidential election, so it's not guaranteed. So we have to make sure it's guaranteed by performing well. And then finally, is the South Carolina Democratic Party endorsing any candidates? And the answer is no. They want to make it clear. While you may see positive posts about what President Biden has done and the accomplishments of the past 3 years and some corrections of facts that the other side wants to throw out as incorrect, there is no official endorsement coming from the party. We are here to facilitate the election, not to endorse. Once you are out of the primary, then it's all about the endorsements, right? Now you're our nominee. But any assistance, we would offer it to all candidates as a state party. All right, I think that brings me to the end with a final word of let's go out and vote. Let's make sure we do it, but then more than that, would you join us in reaching 1,400 voters? It's not a lot of voters to reach in Greenwood County, and help us meet our goal and look like the shining star. First of all, I could tell you there is no monthly meeting of Democrats anywhere in South Carolina that's as large or as loud as what we have in Greenwood. I know that for a fact. Are you in it with me, people? Are you in it with me? Will you do it with me? Let's get her done. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have the farm banking training zone
The calls can be made at any time. So I said you can do it from the comfort of your own home. During the training, we'll tell you what the optimal hours are. Obviously, if you're calling people at 2 a.m., you're going to be making some people mad. But you can do it anytime, any day. We will have phone banking parties at the headquarters where we'll get a group of 5 or 6 people and do it together for an hour and have snacks and drinks and help each other out and knock out 200 or 300. But it can be done steadily, 10 calls a day, 30 calls a day, every day until Election Day. That's a great question. All right, let's wrap things up. Now,